Allergies have been killing me already this morning. I feel like I've had a day already today, and it's 6:13.
What is it? The pollen? Is it?
Oh, yeah, it's the pollen. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you don't know. Okay.
I have no idea. Good morning. All right, here's what we know on the Word of Life trial, the Sarah Ferguson trial from yesterday. Manaski, it was manslaughter and not the murder charge. Closing arguments held yesterday. And by the way, Christine standing by. Good morning, Christine Bolino.
Good morning.
So we know that it was manslaughter, not murder.
Yes, and you had mentioned that yesterday. We were questioning what the outcome would be. So yes, it was manslaughter. And in Christine's news at the top of the hour, there you heard from Judge Dwyer that the prosecution never showed that she knew or intended to kill Lucas Leonard.
Which, Christine, I don't think was a surprise. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I don't think that anybody who has been closely watching the case thought that anything different would be found. So
the other issue, and I was talking to some attorneys yesterday about it, and the issue of what kind of touching, inappropriate touching actually happened. And I was told by two different attorneys yesterday it's irrelevant. It didn't even matter in the case. And I know yesterday we did talk a little bit about how if you were a parent, how would you react?
Right.
The problem here, though, comes into play is the DA's office, the prosecution, still contends that there's no medical evidence of any molestation whatsoever. That what the boys during the beatings, the alleged beatings, although I guess after yesterday they're not alleged anymore. There was no physical evidence, according to the medical examiner, of any molestation on the children whatsoever. So therefore, you kind of have to wonder: is this a case? You hear all the time about waterboarding and terrorists and. You don't do that because, those that are against it say the reason you don't do it is because you don't get accurate information. They'll just admit things to have it stop.
Right.
And I wonder if that's part of it. And because as of yesterday in the closing arguments, the DA, Scott McNamara, saying in closing arguments that there was no evidence of any molestation.
Yeah, and, I believe Christopher Leonard did testify that he and his brother during the beating admitted to things that they didn't do just to try to get it to stop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think your waterboarding analogy is right on.
And the other interesting part of this, Christine, and this came out during testimony as well during the trial, is the thought of this Pastor Irwin as being a prophet, and the fact that she had a direct, all of them believed, that she had this direct link or has this direct link with God. She's able to talk to God, and that's where she gets her information from. So how do you, if you're a God-fearing individual, how do you contend with that?
Right, and that's what Sarah Ferguson had said in her testimony, that she believed that Tiffany Irwin conveyed the word of God and was in direct communication, I believe were the words that she used, with God. So,
yeah.
To violate something that the pastor then said would be essentially to violate God.
Yeah, boy, it's really just an unbelievable story as it all came out yesterday. And now there is still, Andrew, I mean, you can talk about this. There is still a gag order in effect. We will not be hearing from the DA, and Judge Dwyer is really adamant about that.
Right. Yeah, that was actually the big point that he made as soon as the verdict was read, that this is there are still other trials to have, or to be had, I should say, and everybody needs to stay quiet on it.
All right, Christine, do we know if anybody won the big Mega Millions? Nobody won. So where is that going to put the jackpot?
I was just looking for that. I don't have it yet.
It's roughly 510 million. I think 508 was their estimate, but it'll be about 510.
We're talking about $500 million. Last night's drawing was the 7th largest ever, and the next time this actually draws is what? Saturday? It's Tuesdays and Saturdays, right?
Or Tuesdays, it's Friday.
Friday?
Friday.
Okay. Either way.
That was what the script said this morning.
Either way, it'll be $500 million that's going to be heading up. That's really pretty big. Yesterday, big news coming out from the FBI. Although there was a tongue lashing of Hillary Clinton, and we're going to talk to Fox News about it coming up. There was a bit of, from FBI Director Comey, there was a tongue lashing, but there will be no charges. Anybody want to dip in on this one?
Well, Rush's immediate take was, and I think he's right, I caught this after the announcement game, was Trump is going to, of course he's going to, use this as like sound bites in his commercial. The things that Comey said, because really they've opted not to prosecute, but he blasted Clinton and her staff for not handling this appropriately. And I think they were, I can't remember the number, but they said there were things that were like ultra top secret and that were ultra top secret at that time.
Never should have been. And not only Clinton, but anybody that was involved in the string back and forth should have known better that this is not something that should have been on a private server,
right,
or being bounced back and forth. But you're right. I still contend, though, that it doesn't matter. None of this even matters because the people who support her are saying this is all a big attack, and those that hate her already hated her. So where does this move the people in the middle? I'm really not sure where you go because they both have such strong negatives. I'm not sure where people go. So we'll get into that with Fox News coming up in a second. Also, a chance I have an awesome question. I'd call it a brain buster, if you will, and it involves numbers. As long as we're talking about numbers, I think that would be with the Mega Millions. Here would the question would be. So it's a numbers question, and Christine's good with numbers, so prepare yourself, get yourself ready. I'll give you the question coming up, and it's your chance to win. I don't know, we'll come up with a whole bunch of stuff, a nice little prize package, but more pride than anything else. We'll get to it coming up. 6:20, here's Christine with an update right now